Up and away, yada, 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 whatever. Let's do this. Superman! I have seen it. Got on this one a bit quicker than I've been getting to movies lately. The spoiler free portion of this is going to be relatively short, but I'll try and give you the highlights without getting into spoilers. After that, I'm just going to want to talk pretty openly about it. So, there is just the general thing. It's good. What people have been saying is true. It is good. Is it woke? Yes, it's an accurate depiction of Superman, a man who is intended to be kind and whose priority is helping and protecting people as opposed to beating up villains. Yeah, it's woke. God, what nonsense. This is a very good Superman. He's not my favorite. I mean, like, I grew up on Christopher Reeve. I'm biased. He's a very good Superman, though, especially for the way that they are choosing to depict him. This is a Superman who has been publicly being Superman for about 3 years. So he's settled in the role, but he doesn't have sort of the more paternal energy that you sometimes get from a Superman who's been around a little bit longer. But I don't think that's necessarily a detriment, and it makes sense that he is the way that he is. He embodies not only the kindness, but the frustration that the world seems to want to stop him from being kind. So it's in the trailer, so I'll bring this up. He has this back and forth with Lois where the idea of the political implications of something that he did are brought up, and like, did you not think about the ramifications of what was going to happen? And he says flat out, no, people were going to die. And while it's never truly that simple because everything has political context and political ramifications, for Superman, it kind of should be that simple. If you haven't heard it said before, and if I'm the first person you've heard this from, I would be surprised, but Superman is not a cop or a soldier. Superman is a firefighter. He doesn't care what rules he breaks in the process of saving people. His priority is saving people. He will do whatever will maximize the number of lives saved and minimize the number of lives lost. He doesn't really care about international treaties or political standing or any of the rest of it. Like, are people going to die if I do nothing? Yes. Can I stop that from happening? Yes, I'm going to do it. It's that simple for him. And I like that there is a very strong understanding of him being like that, while at the same time acknowledging the far more complicated reality that exists around him without condemning him as being naive or foolish or a bigger problem than help. Like, that's a fine balancing act that could have gone either way. It could have either pretended like, well, of course Clark is right, and the world really is that simple, and, well, no, it's not. I mean, it can be in our entertainment. It depends on how much real world stuff you want to bring into your entertainment. You want to go pure escapism? Yeah, you could say, yes, he is just correct. But if you're not going to do that, you have to be careful not to paint him as being foolish and just, a problem for thinking it's that simple. Here it acknowledges, like, no, this is a good and noble thing, but also, like, yeah, things are also complicated at the same time. And I think it manages that balance really well. Solid cast overall. This, not my all-time favorite Luthor, but some of the animated ones I like a little bit better. But Nicholas Hoult, you know what he sells, I think, better than any other live-action Luthor, for sure? How much he hates Superman. And it's not like a matter of, this guy's in my way and he's annoying. Like, no, he hates him. He sells that really, really well. Again, not necessarily my favorite Luthor. I'm not even sure I like him more than the Luthor that we had from the CW shows. But like, he also just completely surprised me with how good he was. But that was also a very different take on Luthor. That's a shockingly charismatic Luthor. This one, not so much. But he feels like a good embodiment of the aspects of Luthor they are choosing to focus on. So I like him. Lois Lane, real good. She has a very strong sense of moral integrity around her position as a journalist, which she should. She should be the absolute epitome of journalistic integrity, and she has that while also not being only that. Um, the as far as the other characters that we get, especially the other superpowered characters, I really liked Mr. Terrific. I liked him a lot. I would love to see more of him. He was really good. And Nathan Fillion was a really entertaining Guy Gardner. I thought that character was going to be jokier than he was, and like he is fairly jokey, but not that there is a sense of gravitas that Fillion's able to bring to the party. Like, oh yeah, right, you can get serious now and then. Nice. Hawk Girl, she kicks ass, which is what I expect Hawk Girl to do. So that works. She's good. If I have a criticism, it's that I think the movie is doing a little more than it needs to be doing. Like, I agree with its approach that we don't have to do the origin again. And I also agree with the general premise of we don't need origin stories. Oranges? Yeah. We don't need origin stories for frickin' everything. Like, we can just move ahead and kind of let people pick up what is unique about this world as we go. That having been said, I think they might have done it on a few more things than I think is ideal. Because there's all the stuff that I mentioned. You know, we have 3 Justice League members, though they're not called the Justice League at present. But we've got 3 Justice League members and Superman who have been around long enough that, you know, most people sort of have their opinions of metahumans, and you've got Luthor, who's obviously been up to what he's been up to for a while, and there's Crypto, and we have the Fortress of Solitude, and there's another metahuman who plays a pretty important part in all this, who I was like, wow, that is an interesting pull, and I think he's well used. But that, and then the level that the threat is brought to, and like the extent of what technology is capable of, is like, oh yeah, we're just full alternate universe. Like, it's in terms of like the level of tech. This is the only time I'm going to compare it to the MCU. You know how the MCU, starting with Iron Man, was pretty much the world as we knew it, but as it went and more fantastical technologies were introduced, the MCU as a whole has resembled our world less and less as time went on. This is jumping in at that way later point. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad notion overall. Again, I do wonder if this throws a little bit more into the mix than is necessary. It's very rapid paced, and not in a like calm down and take your ADHD meds kind of way, but it starts running and doesn't really slow down. And it does work. I just wonder if a little bit more breathing room might have helped, because honestly, the breathing room scenes are kind of the ones I like the best. I love Lois and Clark. I love Clark and his parents. Like that stuff was fantastic. But there is almost always stuff going on. It's sometimes even in the background of an otherwise, heartfelt moment. And it's not so much that I'm going to say it's overload. I just think it might be it's like 5% too much. That might just be me. This might not bother anybody else. It doesn't really bother me. I just came out going, I really liked that, but I'm not like, I didn't have the gushing feelings that a lot of people I know have had. So I had to be like, okay, what's holding me back from that? This is one of the things I've kind of settled on. And maybe with more time thinking about it, I'll come up with a clearer notion. I am shooting this pretty much right after seeing it. So that's your spoiler-free stuff. I do want to talk spoilers a little bit about a few things. So I do recommend it. It is a good movie. If you like Superman, definitely check it out. So there are a number of things here. Metamorpho, aka Element Man, was the one I was like, wow, that is a heck of a oddball pull. I think I had heard that somebody was cast as him for this movie. I'd completely forgotten though, and like I recognized him as soon as I saw him. Before they even named him, I went, "Oh dang, really? Okay." The use of crypto was good. I'm gonna get in trouble bad mouthing the dog. I think the extent of his unruliness, it had one toe over the line between cute and obnoxious. We got, like, again, I love dogs. I have a dog. I love dogs, and he's a good dog. He's a wonderful dog, and I understand that, like, trying to discipline a dog like this would be a nightmare. And we find out later it's actually it's Supergirl's dog, and she doesn't try and discipline him at all, which explains a bit. But at the same time, the extent of it and how frequently it kept happening, I did find myself going, like, again, like 5% too much. Kind of on that. That is an interesting twist with the message from his parents, that he only had the first half of a message from his parents, and it was one that led him, to this idea of, I'm here to help humanity be better, and to be at the service of bettering these people. And then Luthor is able to use a bunch of tech to recover the rest of the message and translate it. And no, there was more to it. They wanted him to rule over the people of Earth. They sent him here knowing he'd be more powerful, with the intent that he'd take it over. And that's a really interesting notion, partially for, like, the sort of demystifying of not only Krypton, but, like, the Kal-El family, the House of El, his whole family. That is a really interesting choice to make, because they have a tendency to get aggrandized and sometimes get excessive focus. Man of Steel. But just having it be this far simpler twist where it's like, oh, it's a good thing your planet blew up ultimately for the rest of the universe, isn't it? Yeah, and I really love the note at the end where, number 4, Alan Tudyk, apparently he's just becoming go-to robot performer now. Okay. But he says, would you like to see the message from your parents? And that had happened before, and it was this fragmented message, and now it's these videos of him with Ma and Pa Kent, and that was really wonderful. I choked up at a couple points in this movie. That was one. Those kids raising that flag in what really felt like something that was not a perfect one-to-one, but had a lot of parallels with what's going on in Gaza right now. Seeing those kids put up that flag in the hope that Superman would come and save them because nobody else is. Yeah, that got me. That one got me in the feels too. Trying to think what. Oh, you know who I like one aspect of what they did with her, but for the most part, I'm like, okay, Eve, the character of Eve, who's Luthor's girlfriend and apparently Jimmy's really annoying, clingy ex. I like the reveal that, like, all of her selfies that we've seen her taking across the movie, like, she was sneakily getting stuff in the background, and also not so sneakily. Like, the first thing we see is, like, this map, but then later there's, like, you see very clearly some of her just laying on a bed next to documents. So, like, it's a clever thing she did, but also, like, okay, yeah, no, that's actually real blatant. But, like, I like that twist and that trick that she pulls, but, like, her placement in the story overall is still annoying airhead. Because, like, that twist doesn't alter her characterization. It was just the airhead doing one smart thing. And I don't know. I feel weird about that character. Yeah. She was a character who felt like she was there to move the plot forward, and because they couldn't think of anything more substantive to do with her than this, they made her a joke. So she became a joke character to move the plot forward, as opposed to just only being something to move the plot forward. And, like, I mean, props for giving her something, but also I didn't super love what they chose to give her. And I also don't super like the mild body shaming with the thing with her toes. Like, we never see it, but like Jimmy has her in his phone as mutant toes. Like, more than anything, I kind of came away from all that not thinking very well of Jimmy. I'm like, Jimmy, you're kind of an ass. So, I mean, thankfully the movie doesn't ask me to commit to Jimmy too much, but like he's a little bit, he's on the low end of my assessment of characters. Oh, I think another good example of where like there's just a little bit more here than there needs to be. How many people at the Daily Planet we got? Because like we need Perry, we need Lois. Jimmy, honestly, he's kind of optional, but like it's nice to see him back. It's nice that we can live in a world with Jimmy Olsen again. Cat Grant, totally fine, but Lombard? And there was one other whose name I didn't even catch. I'm like, okay, that's, did we need them? Did we need them crammed into the terrific saucer or whatever it was? Because they're just kind of there. And it's, I don't know. It's the kind of thing where like, if this was the third, fourth, or even second film in a series and like they'd been introduced previously and now they're just kind of around, that'd be one thing. But I guess it just kind of speaks to James Gunn's approach, which is that he made this as if it was a middle chapter in a series that's already been going for a bit. You know, it's kind of the same basis on which he jumps past all the origin stuff. Like, oh yeah, we could have established that in another movie, but we didn't. We're gonna make one of the later sequels where you just get to play in the sandbox because everything's already set up. And I admire the approach, and I don't even think it's a bad approach, but there's just tiny little things that I'm like, okay, maybe that's a little more than you need though. But that's a nitpick. That's such a nitpick. I did really enjoy this. Not the best movie I've seen this year. Not the best movie I've seen in cinemas this year. But really good. And definitely like, I am not prepared to call this my favorite Superman. I am going to say this is the kind of Superman that we need right now though. Yeah. This is well made and well timed. Superman, what'd you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments and let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills and enables me to do this as my living, even if you can't help me out that way. Like, share, subscribe. Those all help as well. Don't worry too much about it, though. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so you can just come on back next time you need a break. And now to thank my highest supporting patrons: Robin Moore, Jared Boyce, Zubin Lutfullah, Auntie Kate 808, Mira G, Angry Casperl, Dave Hall, Movie Turtle, Oliver B., Sean Miller, Welsh Wrestling Geeks, Melissa Pedersen, Mary Mello, Becky Sparks, Loki Eris, Tracy Scrabbit, Pal Barabajoggle, and Sir Didymus is my favorite. Don't worry, the rats are all fine, but my rat wrangler is not here right now, and I thought we could have Archie say hi. Or not.